Hello everyone. So today I would like to retell a story from the novel I have read. The title is O is for Outlaw by Sue Grafton. So the story centers on Kinsey Mulhoun, a private investigator living in Santa Teresa, California. So the story began when Kinsey received a phone call from a man named Ted Rich. So he is who purchased abandoned storage unit and sells the item inside them. So he tells Kinsey that he has found a cardboard box containing her personal things, like including childhood photographs, school report card, letters, and other keepsakes. Curious about how her belongings ended up in someone else's storage unit, Kinsey decided to buy the box. So, while looking through the documents, she noticed that the storage unit had been rented by someone using the name John Russell. So, the name immediately catch her attention because John Russell was one of the aliases one used by her ex-husband Mickey Magruder. So although Kinsey insists that she has no interest in seeing Mickey again, the discovery leaves her wondering what happened to him after all this year. So she even tells her landlord, Henry, that if Mickey has fallen into trouble, it is no longer her concern. So nevertheless, her curiosity continues to grow. And then, as she searched through her old paper and personal belongings, she unexpectedly found a letter that had never reached her. So that letter became the beginning of the investigation that changed about everything she believed about her past. So years before the event of the novel, Kinsey and Mickey had been married for less than a year. So at that time, Mickey worked as a police officer. And one night, a man named Benny Quincy died after an incident that also involved Mickey. During the investigation, Mickey asked Kinsey to provide an alibi for him. However, he refused to explain where he had actually been that night. Because he wouldn't tell her the truth, Kinsey believed he was hiding something. She refused to lie for him. So, as the investigation continued, suspicion surrounded Mickey. He lost his job as a police officer, and the pressure eventually destroyed their marriage. After the divorce, Kinsey spent the next 14 years believing that Mickey had somehow been responsible for Benny Quincy's death. She tried to leave both Mickey and those painful memories behind, convinced that she would never have to think about him again. However, the forgotten letter hidden inside the cardboard box is about to prove that almost everything she believed for the last 14 years was incomplete. So the letter is written by Dixie Hightower. In the letter, Dixie explained that on the night Benny Quinter died, Mickey was not alone. He was actually with her. If Dixie is telling the truth, then Mickey could not have been responsible for Benny Quinter's death because he had an alibi, a valid alibi all along. However, the letter revealed another painful truth. At that time, both Mickey and Dixie were still married and they had been having an affair. Suddenly, Kenzie realized that she had been wrong about one thing but right about another. Mickey was not responsible for Benny Quinter's death, but he had betrayed their marriage. As Kenzie continued reading the letter, another question began to trouble her. If Mickey had an alibi for his innocence, why did he never use it? So the answer is both simple and also tragic. Revealing his alibi would have exposed his affair with Dixie and destroyed her marriage. Instead of doing that, Mickey chose to remain silent. The decision cost him his career, his marriage, and his reputation. As a result, everyone continued believing that he was involved in Benny Quinter's death, that his reputation was ruined, he lost his career as a police officer, and eventually he lost his marriage as well. So, although Kinsey is deeply hurt after learning about Mickey's affair, she also begins questioning everything she has believed for the past 14 years. She realized that she never knew the complete truth. Wanting answers, she decided to find Mickey and discover what really happened after their divorce. Her investigation takes her to people who once knew Mickey. She contacted former police officer, old friend, hoping they can tell her where he has been. As she followed one lead after another, she learned that Mickey had spent years moving from place to place and using different names. And then he left quietly, avoided attracting attracting attention and rarely stay anywhere for long. Kinsey also discovered that Mickey had never stopped trying to clear his name. He spent years searching for evidence connected to the old case. The more she learned about him, the more confused she became. Just as Kinsey feels she is getting closer to finding him, everything changes once again. Two detectives inform her that Mickey has been found after years of disappearing. However, before anyone could question him, he had been shot in the head and left critically injured. He is taken to the hospital but remained unconscious, unable to explain what happened to defend himself. The news leaves Kinley speechless. She had spent years trying to forget Mickey, and now, just as she began to understanding him, he is fighting for his life. Determined to find the truth, Kinsey continued the investigation herself. She visited Mickey's apartment and discovered that he had been living cautiously, almost as if he expected someone to come after him. And then, as she continued following the clues Mickey left behind, Kinsey realized that his investigation had expanded far beyond Benny Quinter's death. It now involved old crime, missing people, and powerful individuals who have spent years keeping dangerous secrets hidden. At this point, the case is no longer just about Kinsey's failed marriage. It became a search for a truth that Mickey had devoted years of his life to uncovering. As Kinsey continued following Mickey's investigation, she gradually realized that everything is connected. What began as a search for the truth about Benny Quinter's death soon led her to a much larger network involving corruption, hidden identity, and financial crime. Among the names that repeatedly appear are Duncan Oaks, Mark Battle, Carlin Duffy, Littenberg, and Scott Shackelford. At first, these people seem unrelated, but Kinsey slowly discovered that Mickey had spent years connecting the pieces of a puzzle that stretched back more than a decade. The deeper Kinsey investigated, the more dangerous the situation became. She realized that Mickey had uncovered information that powerful people want to keep hidden. His search for the truth had made him a threat, which explained why someone wanted to silence him before he could reveal anything he knew. Eventually, the investigation uncovered the criminal operation behind the case. Tim Littenberg and Scott Shackelford had been running a counterfeit credit card business while Carlin Duffy became involved in the violence surrounding the case. Their illegal activity were connected to the larger mystery that Mickey had been investigating for years. As the evidence come together, the police began making arrests and finally understand how the different crimes are connected. At the same time, Kinsey discovered that Mark Battle, as a respected lawyer and politician, is not honorable man he appears to be. His past is closely connected to the old secret Mickey had been uncovering. Throughout the novel, Mark carefully protects his public image, but Kinsey's investigation gradually exposed the truth hidden behind his successful career. By the end of the investigation, Mickey's name is finally clear after 14 years of suspicion. It is proven that he was not responsible for Benny Quinter's death. Kinsey finally understands that although Mickey had made many mistakes, he had spent years trying to uncover the truth and correct the damage caused by his past decision. However, the truth comes too late. Mickey never regained consciousness after being shot. Kinsey spent at the time uh, sitting beside his bed, watching the heart monitor, hoping for some sign of recovery. Day after day, his condition becomes weaker. She realized that the man she had spent 14 years blaming is someone she never truly stopped caring about. And eventually, Mickey dies. After his death, the police continued their investigation. Tim Littenberg is indicted on multiple federal charges related to manufacturing counterfeit credit card, and Scott Shackelford faces similar charges. Charlene Duffy is arrested and charged with voluntary manslaughter. Meanwhile, because Mickey never changed his will, Kinsey become the sole beneficiary of his estate. She sells his gun, combine the money with the cash gold coin found in his apartment, and donate the entire amount to the Santa Teresa Police Department, believing that this is what Mickey would have wanted in the end. So the most emotional moment comes during Mickey's final hours. Kinsey stayed beside him until his last breath. As she watched him, she reflected on the brief marriage and everything they had shared. In the end, Kenzie realized that she had misunderstood Mickey. For many years. She was neither completely innocent nor completely guilty. He had betrayed her trust through his affair with Dixie, but he was not the criminal she believed him to be. Instead, he was a flawed man who spent much of his life trying to make things right. So that's the end of my novel retelling session. Thank you guys for watching.